Hey, Julian, this demonstration is for you, but anybody else listening to this file, you've either got a hold of it from the internet, from YouTube, or I sent it to you directly. So my name is Steve Baskis, and in this demonstration, I'm going to quickly show someone who's blind or visually impaired how to use VoiceOver, the screen reader on, Apple computers and devices. Specifically, I'm on an Apple Mac Studio in my home studio, and I am going to demonstrate how to create an instrument track in Pro Tools, instantiate a virtual instrument, which is really just saying I'm going to put a application on the track that allows the MIDI information from the MIDI controller, which is a keyboard, a piano, like I have a Native Instruments Complete Control S88 Mark II keyboard in front of me here on my desk. And so when I perform on it, when I play the notes or the keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, whatever, C sharp, that information passes through this virtual instrument and we get music or audio. And an instrument track is essentially a MIDI track in Pro Tools. I guess the best way to look at it from the perspective of using the digital audio workstation Pro Tools is that there's an auxiliary component. So a standard MIDI track in Pro Tools does not output audio. It just will record the MIDI information that you play. But when you create an instrument track and you put a virtual instrument on it and you arm it and your MIDI controller is set up properly, when you play your MIDI keyboard, your MIDI controller, and mine is the S88 Mark II from Native Instruments, it will play the sounds, the audio. Depending on in this particular demonstration, it will be a drum kit. So I'm here in Pro Tools. It's a new session. I'm going to hit VO Home
Tracks
and just kind of position my focus right at the top of the track list here. So I'm going to press Command-Shift-N.
New tracks window.
And I'm going to use some shortcuts to create a new track. I'm going to press Command-Right arrow for stereo and then Command-Down arrow 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not going to hear anything, but if I VO right arrow through this dialog, this window, you'll hear that it's a stereo instrument track.
1. New. Stereo. Instrument track. Track type pop-up button.
I'm going to name it.
Edit text. Content selected. Inst.
Drums.
Selection. R-U-M-S.
And then hit return.
Drums. Mix. Julian.
Maybe I didn't name
window,
it right.
Track. 1 drums. Inst track.
I'm going to rename it.
Drums. Window.
So.
Selection replace. R-U-M-S. Mix. 1 drums. Inst.
So now, instead of having that little character that was causing it to say something else, it says drums. So now what we need to do is arm it. So I'm going to double tap R using Flow Tools.
Armed.
Flow Tools is something you can learn about on the internet. Flow Tools, F-L-O-Tools, Tools.org. So F-L-O-Tools.org, and go there and learn about how Flow Tools helps a blind user like me be more efficient in Pro Tools. You can use Pro Tools without Flow Tools, but it makes life a lot quicker.
1 drums.
So this track is armed.
Armed.
I'm going to put on Insert A an effect or a virtual instrument. So I'm going to double tap 1.
Menu.
And this menu opens up. I'm going to turn off Inspector mode.
Inspector off.
Which is a Flow Tools command.
Multi.
That's /. And then I'm going to hit the right arrow. And then I'm going to type NAT for first letter navigation to find Native Instruments.
Noise. Native Instruments. Submenu.
My focus is on that now. I'm going to hit the right arrow to go in the submenu.
Native Instruments.
Now I'm going to type KO.
Complete Control. Stereo.
For complete control. So now I'm going to turn the Inspector mode back on.
Inspector.
When that's on, it kind of conflicts with first letter navigation. So I just turned it off. So my focus is right now on this option in a submenu for complete control. I'm going to hit return.
Pro Tools is not responding. Plugin. Complete.
Pro Tools is responding. VoiceOver's giving feedback that it's doing something. It's loading. It was loading the plugin window. So I just muted what it was going to say with control. That's a VoiceOver command. But the plugin window's open now. So I closed it with Command Option W. If I press browse on my keyboard right now, I'm going to get the microphone closer to me. So if I hit browse,
reset, press 1.
We hear my Native Instruments Complete Control keyboard and software
vendor,
working.
All vendors.
All vendors. So I'm going to pick Native Instruments.
Vendor. Audio Imperia, Native Instruments.
Then I'm going to pick 70 Abbey Road 70s drummer.
Product, 40s, Abbey Road 50s, Abbey Road 60s drummer, Abbey Road 70s drummer.
Then I'm going to cycle through the presets, and you're going to hear the
AR70s open kit full.
you're going to hear the preview. So I'm going to find a
Reset, AR70s open kit full.
sorry. You'll hear the rock. I'm looking for a hard rock.
Reset, AR70s open, AR70s tight kit light. Open disco. Open funk. Open hard rock. Reset, open hard rock.
So open hard rock. So I pressed the encoder knob down and selected that on my controller, my MIDI controller. And now if I press C, this is the note C, C1, D1 is the snare, and then F sharp is the hi-hat. So, but there's a lot of other kinds of instruments. These are the toms. And then we have cymbals. It's a ride, I think. Or the bell of the ride. And the crash cymbals. There's the bell. Another crash. And so on. But in this demonstration, just going to use C for the kick, D for the snare, and F sharp for the hi-hat. And we're just going to do a simple rock beat. Now, there's a bunch of shortcuts to consider. Command F11 tells us the tempo of the session.
120.0000 tempo.
So we don't have a click track created, so I'm going to hit VOM to go to the toolbar.
Menu bar Apple.
VO is just voiceover. It's the voiceover key, and caps lock is the voiceover key exclusively on my computer. You do that in voiceover utility or the settings, but that's a whole nother subject. So I'm here. I'm going to VO right arrow till I hear track.
File, edit, view, track.
And I'm going to go down in the sub menu and to the bottom.
New, ellipse, create click track.
And we're going to create a click track.
Create click track.
So now it should be enabled. If I hit the space bar, we'll hear it. So that's 120. So I'm going to command double tap F11.
Type a tempo value.
And I'm going to change it to 75. Slow it down. So now if I check again, command F11.
75.0000 tempo.
So if we listen, if I hit space bar for play, we'll hear the tempo. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. So that's basically our tempo. So I'm going to play just the kick and snare in the beginning here. But what I can do is I can have a count in, and Flow Tools allows you to hear the count in, whether it's enabled or not, or toggled on or off. The same thing for the click, and that's the numpad 7, numpad 8, and numpad 9. So the numeric key, numeric numbers, if you have an extended keyboard. So option 7.
Metronome on.
My metronome is on. Option 8.
Count and off.
I'm going to turn that on by just pressing 8 once. Now if I check option 8.
Count and on.
So it says it's on. And then option 9.
MIDI merge on.
And MIDI merge just allows me to continuously record notes as maybe if I have a selection on the timeline, like one bar, a musical bar. So a musical bar, like I said, the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to just create a 1 bar loop. And it's just going to be kick, snare on the kick on the 1 and 3 beat, and snare on 2 and 4, and then we'll do eighth note hi-hats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We'll put a hi-hat on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you'll get what I'm talking about if you don't understand what I'm saying right now. But so I'm going to go to bar 2 by pressing asterisk 2 period enter on the numeric keypad. If I check where I am on the timeline with command F1,
2 minutes. Start.
Oh, let me change this to bars and beats. So I'm going to press Command Option F4.
Menu, checkmark, bars, vertical line beats.
Press the up arrow and then just select bars and beats.
1.
So now I'm going to go asterisk 2 period 0, enter, and now I should be at bar 2.
Bar 2, beat 1.
So because I want to have 1 bar empty in front of it when I hit return to go to the top of the session. Meaning I'm going to go to the very top of the session and press play, and then 1 bar will go by, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the second bar is where our drum beat's going to be, where it's going to reside. So bar 2 beat 1 will be a kick, and bar 2 beat 3 will be a kick, and then bar 2 beat 2 will be a snare, and bar 2 beat 4 will be a snare hit. and then in between we'll have the 8th note hi-hat. So I'm going to just basically, I have a 2-bar count in. If you have further questions about how to toggle the count in, or set the count in to be 1 bar only, just send me a message. But so when I hit Command Spacebar, the transport is armed and it will start rolling, and I'll be able to record. And I'm just going to count off and play the drums just like that to the click. So here we go, 2 bars, and then on the 3rd bar I'll start recording. And then it'll loop and it'll just keep playing. So here we go, Command Spacebar. So I forgot to make a selection. So, but that's no big deal. I can go back to bar 2. I can, so I just press 2 period asterisk, or asterisk 2 period enter. And then I can make a selection using Flow Tools, Command double F,
Type length value.
Command double tap F3, and I press 1 period enter, and now I have 1 bar selected. So I can check Command F3.
1 bar.
And we have 1 bar. So if I press play, we'll hear this kick, snare, kick, snare. And so when I turn the click track off. So there's a lot going. This is so quick. If I'm not explaining it or teaching it, I could have been done, or I would have been done already with recording and everything. But I'm going very detailed. I'm explaining everything in a very detailed manner. So when the click track is on and you listen, it's not perfect timing. The click and the hits are not exact. So what I can do is those notes are being played on the quarter note. So I can hit return, Option Shift Return to select the whole timeline, and then there's a keyboard shortcut, Option 0 on the numbers row above the key letters on the keyboard. If I press Option 0,
Quantize window selected. Collapser button expanded. Quantize button
we
selected.
get the quantize window. So there's a few things I want to set here. I want to set the resolution to quarter notes, and then I want to set the strength to 100. So I'm going to VO right arrow and find the grid resolution or grid.
Apply what to note on, note off, preserve note, elastic, quantize grid.
Quantize grid, and then this pop-up menu to the right.
1/16 note, combined quantize pop-up button.
I could leave it on 16, but I'm going to put it on quarter.
Menu, 1/4 note. 1.
Because all that we have on the timeline is these notes that are falling on the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. If there were 8th notes, it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Every time I speak, a hit would be occurring. So now I just need to hit apply.
Elastic, note, selected, minimize, quantize, apply, dimmed button.
Oh, I need to make a selection. So my focus, if I check Option Shift L,
1 selected, 2 click 1, aux,
is on the click track. It says 2 click 1. If I hit Control P,
apply button. 1 drums.
It selects 1 drums. So now I'm going to hit escape, or I'm going to hit return.
Mix.
That close the quantize window, and I'm going to hit Option Shift Return, and I'm going to hit Option 0 again.
Quantize.
Everything should be set up still.
Selected.
So I'm just going to hit apply.
Apply what note? What apply button. Quantize. Apply button.
So now if we listen with the click track on,
metronome on,
it should be very aligned. Let's create a
mix, Julian.
Let's create a memory location. That's another thing. I'm going to go to bar 2, asterisk 2 period enter. Now I'm going to create a selection, Command double tap F3.
Type length value.
I'm going to type 1 period 0 for a bar. So I got 1 bar selected. So if we press play, it's perfectly in sync now. The click track and the hits are the same. So I'm gonna press enter to create a memory location.
New memory location window. Edit text. Content selected.
And I'm going to VO right arrow till I find selection.
New name. Look. No. 1. Time. Mark. Reference. Selection. Selected.
And then I'm going to just hit OK. I'm going to VO in to the bottom of this window.
OK button.
And hit VO space.
Mix.
So now I have a selection.
1 bar. Length.
That is a memory location. So like if I break my selection, if I hit return and I'm at the top of the session, so I can press Command F1.
Bar 1. Beat 1. Start.
I'm at bar 1, beat 1. But if I hit play, you don't hear anything because we're not on bar 2 where the recording is. But if I press decimal point 1, decimal point, that's a memory location marker number that I use to jump to my selection that I created. So now if I hit spacebar, so what we have to do now is we're going to play the hi-hat, and that's F sharp. So I'm gonna press record, and it's going to count in just like it did before. The problem was I didn't have a selection, so this time it will loop. Command Shift L.
Loop playback checked.
Says, it tells me that loop playback is checked. If it wasn't, you'd press Command Shift double tap L, and loop playback would be checked, and just like mine, and it will loop. So, and that means I can record as every pass happens, every time it loops around. But I'm just going to do the hi-hat. I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I might practice here a bit. Let's see. Just like that. That's what it's going to sound like when it's recorded. I was just playing while it was playing back, but now I'm going to actually start recording. It's going to count in 2 bars, and on the 3rd bar, I'll start recording. So again, I didn't do the greatest job, but that's what I usually play, just to let the audience know, everybody listening. I play on a real MIDI drum kit, which is more natural. And this is going to sound very electronic, very machine-like, because I'm quantizing it. I'm adjusting the notes to the tempo. So we have a ruler. Imagine a ruler in this session, and these notes, every time I play them, they fall somewhere on that ruler, right? And when I quantize, I am adjusting, I'm moving those hits basically to the closest, whatever my resolution is. So I had quarter note last time. So those kick and snare hits, they move to the closest quarter note. And now I'm going to put the resolution to 16th and just quantize this entire track. So I'm going to make sure my track is selected. Option Shift L to check to see what track is selected.
1 selected. 1 drums.
So 1 drums. I'll hit return to go to the top of the session. Then Option Shift return to select from the top of the session to the end. And then I'll hit Option 0.
Quantize window.
Again, the 0 on the numbers row above the letters on the keyboard. And then I'll VO right arrow till I find the grid.
Quant apply. What? Note. Preserve elastic. Quantize grid.
And then I'm going to pick this pop-up menu to the right.
1/4 note. Combined quantize pop-up button. Menu.
I'm going to pick 16th.
1/2 check. 1/8 note. Check mark. 1/16 note. 1.
And then I'm going to VO left arrow to apply.
Quant elastic preserve note. What to apply button. Apply button.
And now I'm going to use my memory location marker to jump to where our section is, period 1 period, or decimal point 1 decimal point on the numeric keypad. And now if we hit play, we have a rock drum kit. So I'm going to close this quantization window.
Quantize mix.
By pressing Option 0. So again, I'm here in the mix window. So we just created a drum beat. It's I could change the speed. So like right now, the tempo is
75.0000 tempo.
75 beats per minute. So I press Command F11 to hear it. But if I press Command double tap F11,
type a tempo.
I could type 120 period. So that's the original, that's the default tempo of a session when you create one in Pro Tools. Now if we listen to it, so that's pretty cool, right? I'm going to show you now how MIDI is so powerful, because we can actually change the attack, the release, the pitch, or the note just by using up and down arrows and a few shortcuts. So what you have to do is when you're in the mix window, if I VO home,
tracks,
and I VO right arrow, so I'm going to VO right arrow, and I'm going to find this this track, drums 1.
Track list 1 drums, int track.
Or 1 drums, I should say. There's a when the inspector mode is on, /
inspector off, inspector on.
There we can double tap W or press W once to hear what the window is, what we're visually like looking at.
Clips.
So it's clips, but we want to be on notes. So I'm going to double tap W.
Menu, checkmark, clips,
I'm going to press the down arrow once.
notes,
I'm going to hit return.
1 drums,
So now if I hit return, and I have to make sure that I'm on the track that I want to be on. So I'm on this track, the drums track. If I hit the right arrow, every time I hit the right arrow, we're going to move through the notes. So you're going to hear the kick, the hi-hat, the snare. So here we go. I'm going to just start tapping the right arrow. So see, I stopped on this hi-hat. Now I can decide, I can figure out where I am by pressing Command F1.
bar 2, beat 1, tick 480, start.
So bar 2, beat 1, tick 480. I'd actually like to put a kick drum beat right around this area. So, but we're going to keep, I'm going to keep hitting the right arrow. So this last snare hit, I'm going to change it. If I push the up or down arrow, it'll change to a different sound. Oh, so there's like more of a rim shot, you know. So let's press play and listen to this drum beat. I'm going to use the memory locations. If we listen to this drum beat, the last snare hit is going to be a rim shot, more or less. I think that's what I heard. Sorry, I drank too much coffee this morning. Anyway, here we go. Play. So you hear that? It's going to loop around. Let's just listen to it for a second, and that's the note I changed. So I could change it to whatever. So I'm gonna hit return, or I'm gonna hit option return to go to the end of the track or the session, and then I'm gonna hit the left arrow. And I'm gonna hit the left arrow again, and once more. There's that note. I'm gonna change it back to the snare. So there's the snare hit. And I'm just moving left through all the drum beats. So let's move to this. Let's hit return to go to the top of the session, and I'm going to hit the right arrow. So I'm going to copy this, Command C.
Copy.
And I know that I'm at bar 2, beat 1.
Bar 2, beat 1, start.
So let's listen to the drum beat. I'm going to hit decimal point 1, decimal point. Let's listen to it. I'm going to put a double kick right after this first kick drum. So it's going to fall really close to the second hi-hat hit, which is in between the snare and the hi-hat. So it's basically beat. It's bar 2, beat 1, 480 ticks. So I can move there very accurately by typing it in using flow tools. So what I hit, I need to make sure that I'm not selected, or I'm not focused on a note or have a note selected. So I hit return, because if you do, you'll move it. So I'm going to press Command double tap F1.
Type start value.
And I'm going to type 2 period 1 for bar 2, beat 1. Then I'm going to press period 483. So the drum beat, the kick drum's going to be a little bit ahead of the hi-hat. So here we go. I'm going to hit return. And now I move there, and I'm going to press Command V.
Paste.
Now let's use my memory location marker to jump to it, and let's listen to this now. So that I put that extra drum beat there. So see, if I hit return, and we're in notes view still. So if I hit right arrow and find that second kick drum, so I'm going to hit right arrow. That's the first kick drum. Let's find the second one. There we go. I'm going to change it to, actually, I'm going to go back 1. I'm going to change this hit to a cymbal. This one. So now let's use my memory location marker, decimal point 1, decimal point. Let's listen to this. See how powerful it is? And I could change the attack, I could change the release and the note with some shortcuts too. Let's go back and check out something. Let's hit the right arrow and find that crash hit. There it is. I'm going to change it back to the kick. So here we go. I think this is the same kick. But I can check by pressing Option P.
D1. Pitch.
D1. See, that tells me what pitch it is, or note. If I press Option A,
100. Attack.
the attack is 100. I can press Option R.
Repeat. Repeat.
Oops.
Window. Mixer scroller.
Sorry,
Mix.
it's not Option R. I can't remember. Option
56. Release.
E. I think that's E. Hold on.
Starting keyboard E.
Yeah, E. E is an echo.
E.
So
Escape.
Option E tells me
56. Release.
the release. So Option E for release, Option A for attack, and Option P for pitch. And you can double tap them. So like I could change the attack and make it a harder hit. So, and you just type it in and hit return. But let's split the notes now. So I've showed you how to create a track, put a virtual instrument on it. We've recorded the drums in a few different ways. Adding a drum beat, which was the hi-hat, after recording the kick and the snare. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move them to separate tracks so that we can isolate them. And there are a lot of different ways to do this. This particular virtual instrument actually has a lot of control within native instruments. So you could control the volume or the levels just by using like if I touch the knobs here, watch.
Hi-hat. Minus 10.5 dB.
I could change the hi-hat.
6.0 dB. Minus 6. Minus 5.8
I could change the,
Minus 5.8 dB. Minus
this is the kick,
kick. Minus 5.8
and
dB.
then the snare.
Snare. Minus 5.8 dB.
And so I'm just touching these knobs. They're like they have like a capacitive touch kind of sensing capability. And so as I touch them on my MIDI controller, if I would turn them, I would change the levels. Now, to have like full control, you would want them on separate tracks, and you could, turn this into audio. But right now it's MIDI. So there's another dialogue. So we need to make sure that the drum track is selected. So I'm gonna hit Option Shift L.
One selected. One drums. Inst.
So one drums. So this track is going to eventually become the kick track because we're going to take the snare and the hi-hat and move it to different tracks. But so first I'm going to move the hi-hat hits to a new track, and then I'm going to move the snare hits to another track. But you're not going to hear them because they're moving to a new instrument track where the virtual instrument is not created, where complete control is not instantiated. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to go to this first track, which is called drums right now, but I'm going to change it to kick. I'm going to have to copy those plugin settings. I'll have to go to the other tracks and put complete control on Insert A, and then I'll have to paste the plugin settings, and then we'll hear the full drum kit. And then all the drums, instruments, these notes will be on different tracks, and we can then solo them and mute them and do whatever we want. So here we go. I am going to, and this is not necessarily the way I would do it, but I'm just trying to show someone how to split notes. And the way they work, the way they mix things, the way they incorporate processing is totally up to them. So I apologize if I'm confusing people that are more advanced. This is really just showing a lot of different things, and there's no right or wrong. It's the sound that comes out of your speakers, in my opinion. So here we go. I'm going to make sure that track is selected, which I did.
One selected. One drums. Inst.
I'm going to hit return, and I'm going to press Option Y for the split notes like dialogue.
Select/split notes.
Select split notes dialogue. So we have to move over to this area where there's a selection. So I'm going to VO right arrow, and this area has a few things that we have to pay attention to. Mostly everything is selected correctly except for like three things. There's two places for the range. The range is where the note, we're going to play the kick drum, and the note's going to automatically fill, but we have to do it in two places. Then we have to also change a radial button from select to split, and we have to change a pop-up menu to new track. So I'm going to VO right arrow till I find select.
Quanti, apply, collapse, change, apply, collapse, change, apply, collapse, trans, apply, selected. Collapser button.
So this collapser button, to the right of it,
Select/split notes.
is select/split notes. And then it's important, there's an apply button.
Apply button.
This button is what we have to push when we finish our settings. So I'm going to keep moving to the right till I find range. But there's a few things here that are checked.
Criteria. Pitch. Checked. Checkbox.
The pitch is checked,
Note range. Selected. Radio button.
and the note range is selected. To the right of this,
42. F number 1. Text. Edit text.
this is the first range box. So I'm going to VO space,
42. F number 1. Text. Edit text.
and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play the hi-hat, because we're going to move the hi-hat first. So the hi-hat is F sharp. I know it's F sharp, but let's VO left arrow and right arrow to move our focus and hear what it is.
Note range. 42. F number 1. Text. Edit text.
It says 42 F number 1. So it just means F sharp 1. That's the note. That's where I am on the keyboard, on the MIDI controller. So F sharp is our hi-hat. So we have to VO right arrow once, twice,
42. F number 1. Text.
and there's another dialog box here, and it's already
42. F number 1. Text. Edit.
it's already selected.
42.
But I'm
F
going to
number
make
1,
sure
Text. Edit text.
I'm going to play it again and make sure
42. F number 1.
that is properly selected. So because it could say something else. So there we go. So we have both those notes selected. Now, if we move right, we're going to skip a bunch of things and find this radial button. We're going to change it from selected to split.
Top 1. Notes. Bot 1. Notes. The last 1. And 100. Duration. 0. And 1 vertical. Position. 1 vertical. And 5 vertical. Action.
Action. And then to the right,
Select notes. Radio button.
we don't want this selected. We want
Split notes. Selected. Radio
split
button.
notes.
Stay plate.
So
Split notes. Selected.
it
Radio.
was already selected. And then to the right of this,
Cut. Split notes. Action. Pop-up button.
we're going to cut the notes to,
2. A new track. Split notes. Destination.
and
Pop-up button.
this normally is set to
Menu. Check the clipboard.
the clipboard, but we want it to be
Check mark. A new track.
a new track.
A new track. 2. A new track.
So
Split
now
notes.
I'm-
Destination.
So now I'm going to VO left arrow to apply.
2. And 0. 1. And 1. Note 1. Bot. Note 1. Top. 42. 42. Note. Pitch. Criteria. Apply. So apply button.
And when I hit this, what's going to happen is a new track's going to be created. The notes are going to be moved to that track, the hi-hat, and we're not going to hear it because there's no virtual instrument on that track. But we're going to put the virtual instrument on the track after we do all these note splitting functions. And from there, once that's done, and I copy the settings from the first track, the drums track, which will become the kick track, all the notes will be separated and they will play. But here, I'm going to hit apply.
Apply button.
Now, if I press play, you don't hear the hi-hat. So we were successful. Now, that track is selected right now. Option Shift L.
1 selected. 2. Drums.dup 1.
It says drums, 2 drums.dup. That DUP means duplicated or copied. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Command Return because that's the track. It's going to rename the selected track. So you may not have this turned on, so you can just double tap T and go through the menu and pick rename. But I'm going to just press Command Return,
Drums.tup 1.
and I'm going to type hi-hat
H-I-H-A-T.
and hit return.
Hat. Stay plate. Win.
Now I'm going to press Control P to select the drums track again.
1 drums.
So 1 drums is selected. I'm going to hit Option Y.
Select/split.
Now it's very easy. Now all we need to do is move the snare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to VO right arrow till I find range.
2, 3. Group. Select. Expect. Mix with. Collapsed.
Oh.
Heat control.
I close the window. So I hit Option Y,
Select/split notes.
and then we'll go to the right.
Select. Apply. Criteria. Pitch. Check. Note range. 42. F number 1.
So this I'm going to VO space on this first one.
42.
And
F
I'm
number
gonna
1. Text. Edit text.
I'm going to play D for snare. And now it says
Note 38. D1. Text. Edit text.
38 D1. So we have to go to the second range box. So VO right arrow twice
42. F number 1. Text. Edit text.
and VO space
42. F number 1. Text. Edit text.
and play the note on the MIDI controller. So I just played it,
38. D1.
got 38 D1. So now I can go and hit apply,
Note. Pitch. Criteria. Apply. Select. Apply button.
VO space.
Stay plate.
Now if I use my memory location and jump to this so I can loop and have a selection, 1 bar selection, if I press play, all we hear is the snare, or the kick, I'm sorry, the kick. So I'm going to change the drums track. I'm going to rename it to kick. So I'm going to press Control P.
2. Drums.tup 1.
I also need to rename this new track.
1 drums.
So I'm going to rename this track to kick.
Drums. Window. Edit text. Content selected. Selection. I. C. K. Window. 2. Drums.t. 1 kick. 2. Drums.
And then I'm going to change track 2
Drums.tup 1.
to snare.
Window. Edit. Selection. N. A. R. E. Window.
So now in my session,
Collapse or quantize.
I have, I'm going to close this split window with Option Y.
Select/split notes. Tracks.
If I go to the top of this mix window and I VO right arrow,
Track list pop. 1 kick. Inst track.
we have 1 kick
2 snare. Inst track. 3 hi-hat. Inst track.
and
4 click 1. Aux track.
our click. So if I press play, we're not going to hear.
4 click 1.
I used the memory location that I made, decimal point, 1 decimal point. Now if I press play, all we hear is the kick, because these other, so what we're going to have to do now is I'm going to go to track 1.
Track 1 kick.
I'm going to double tap 1.
Pro Tool plugin. Complete.
The plugin window opens up. I'm going to press the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-C. Now I copied the plugin settings. Nothing, you didn't hear anything, but it copied them. I'm going to close this window, Command-Option-W.
Mix.
And so now I need to go to track 2 and 3 and put complete control on it. And when I put complete control on it, the plugin will open up and I will paste the settings, and it will put the Abbey Road 70s, whatever this was, a hard rock, open hard rock drum kit preset on those tracks. So here we go.
2 snare. Inst track.
So I'm going to go to 2 snare. I'm going to double tap 1.
Menu. Multi-channel.
I'm going to turn my inspector mode off.
Inspector.
Hit the right arrow.
Multi-channel.
Type NAT.
Noise. Native instruments. Submit.
Then I'm going to press the right arrow.
Native instruments.
Type KO.
Complete control.
And now turn the inspector mode back on.
Inspector on.
And hit return.
Pro Tools is not responding. Plugin. Complete control.
Now I'm going to press Command-Shift-V. And I'm going to close this window. Command-Option-W.
Mix.
So now we should hear the snare if I press play. So, and then it sounds like something might have happened there. I might have accidentally pressed the up or down arrow key, which that's why we should change all these views to notes, from notes, I mean to clips, because if you press the up or down arrow key, you will accidentally change. But that's all right. It sounds cool. Instead of a double kick, there's a double snare, I think. So now if I go to this third track,
3 hi-hat. Inst track.
and I double tap 1,
Menu. Multi.
I'm going to put complete control
Inspector.
on.
Noise. Native instruments. Submit. Complete control. Inspector on.
The plugin's going to open up.
Pro Tools is not responding. Plugin.
I'm going to press Command-Shift-V to, you won't hear anything, but I'm pasting the plugin settings. Now I'm going to close the window.
Mix.
Now if I press play, so basically I could fix that problem. We could go back to this
window.
We could go back to the snare track, so Control semicolon,
2 snare.
and I could hit return and hit the right arrow till I find that second snare. Should be this one, but I can check Command F1.
Bar 2. B2. Start.
Bar 2, beat 2. So it's not the second, it's this left of this snare. So I'm going to hit the left arrow. I'm going to press Command F1.
Bar 2. Beat 1. Tick 480. Start.
I'm going to copy, I'm going to copy this one.
Copy.
And then I'm going to go Control P.
1 kick.
And I'm going to paste it here.
Paste.
Let's see what happens. It might take away my hi-hat symbol, but that's okay. So, I have to delete that one too. So I copied it, but I should have cut it so that I don't want a double snare hit. So
2 snare.
I'll go back to snare. I'll press the right arrow once and I'll check Command F1.
Bar 2. Beat 1. Tick 480.
Start. I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to hit backspace. Now let's listen. And so what happened was I did copy the note, but I have to change the pitch to a kick pitch. So let's go back to track 1, Control P.
2 snare. 1 kick.
And then I'm going to right arrow till I hear the snare there. And then I want to make it, see, if I go check, if I hit Option P on this kick,
C1. Pitch.
it's C1. So if I go to this snare, which it should be a kick on this track, and I double tap Option P,
Type note pitch.
I could type C1
No comment. A. Complete control. Inspector off.
and hit return. And let's see if it changed it.
C# -2. Pitch.
Let's try that again. Option double tap P,
Type note pitch.
C1. And let's see if it,
C1. Pitch.
yep, there we go. So
Inspector on.
you can't have the inspector mode on. It conflicts again with your typing. So now if I left arrow, you got to kick. And if I right arrow, you got to kick again. So if I hit return and I use my memory location, decimal 1, decimal, let's listen. So I've lost some of the hi-hats, but you get the point. I can fix the hi-hat problem real simple. If I let's see, let's go down
2 snare. 3 hi-hat.
and let's solo it, Shift S and press play. So I can easily hit right arrow. I can copy this one, Command C,
Copy.
and then let's see where we are. It should be bar 2, beat 1, Command F1.
Bar 2. Beat 1. Start.
And then if I hit right arrow and Command F1,
Bar 2. Beat 2. Start.
so this is bar 2, beat 2. So we're missing the one in between. So if I hit return, because we can't have it selected, I'm going to press Command double tap F1.
Type start
I'm
value.
going to type 2.1.480, enter. Now, if I press play, I don't hear anything immediately. So I'm going to press Command V to paste.
Paste.
And now I have a hi-hat there. So if I use my memory marker location, decimal 1 decimal, decimal point 1 decimal point. Now if I press play, and I'll turn my click off, I have all my hi-hats.
Save session.
So now if I unsolo while I'm playing, I'm going to press Shift S while it's playing. So there we go. So it's pretty cool
2 snare.
what we can do.
2 soloed. 1 kick. Inst. 3.
I'm going to Option Shift S, double tap so that I can unsolo everything. But I could go to any one of these and mute them or solo them. So like
1 kick.
while I'm going to just navigate and use first the inspector to solo while it's playing. So just listen. I'm going to solo the kick, then the snare and the hi-hat.
Tracks. Track. 1 kick. Inst track. On.
That's the kick,
Off. 2 snare. In.
the snare,
On. Off.
and then the hi-hat.
3 hi-hat. On. Off.
So that's
Save session.
basically how to create an instrument track, put a virtual instrument on it, instantiate it, to the track on Insert A, pick a preset. And this one, in this particular demonstration, I picked the Abbey Road 70s hard rock, open hard rock drum preset because we were doing this just simple rock beat. I played the the kick and the snare. I recorded it in, and then over the top of it, I recorded the hi-hat using MIDI merge and the loop playback so that I could loop and listen and just play over it. So you could continue to add different drum beats and hits however you want. And then after all of that, I split the notes onto new tracks, renamed the tracks, and put the virtual instrument complete control, the plugin complete control on those tracks, and copied the plugin settings over to each one of those tracks. And then I was able to isolate them. So I hope this demonstration helps somebody. I may have missed something. I'm tired today, but again, my name's Steve, and I appreciate you listening this long. This takes no time at all if I'm not explaining it, and I'm just going through it quickly. But hopefully, if you're blind or visually impaired, you're motivated or driven to learn Pro Tools and how to navigate MIDI and do this and make your own music or drum beats or whatever. And then if not, you're sighted and you just learn something that you can share with people. Hopefully someone that is blind or going blind may benefit from this information. So take care, everybody.